Ladies and gentlemen, meet the brand spanking new second generation Chevy Cruze. Here it is. It's all new. New chassis, new engine, new interior. Everything has been redone because Chevy is determined to compete against the class-leading Honda Civic and Toyota Corolla. So have they done enough? Well, coming up next, we're going to find out by taking it for a ride. Just an important disclaimer, Chevy did fly me down here to the beautiful music city of Nashville to drive this car, and as always, they mainly had the expensive cars for us to drive. In other words, the top-of-the-line model. This is the premier model, so while you're looking at the new Kalahari interior, which is just stunning, keep in mind that this is a car that is north of $28,000, so it better have some pop to it on the inside. Under the hood, we have a 1.4-liter direct injected, turbocharged inline four that puts out 153 horsepower and 177 pound-feet of torque. Now it powers the front wheels, unlike some of the competitors. Think Impreza, which can power all four wheels, but it can be paired to either, in this case, a 6-speed automatic transmission, or, yes indeed, you can even get a 6-speed manual. How does this new Cruze drive? Only one way to find out. Put it in gear and take it for a ride. If you're looking for highway numbers, there's a 4 in front of it all. 40 to 42 depending on the model you get. The ones with the smaller wheels, thinner, less rolling resistant tires get better fuel economy. You can have your Cruze in many flavors, starting at about $17,500 for the base model with 15-inch wheels all the way to the top, which is north of $28,600 with 18-inch wheels. The one constant is the 1.4-liter turbo, and if you wait until the fall, there's also a hatchback coming. Yes indeed, I think hatchbacks are back. Chevy sells this car around the world, and with a little bit of video editing magic, all right, let's call it a jump cut, I'm going to put the chief engineer next to me. This is a global car. It is, right? Very much so. You sell it around the world. Yep. How does that affect the development of this car? You know, when it's a car that's also sold in Europe as an Opel. What's it sold in China as? What is it called? A Cruze. A Cruze. Okay, yep. So it's also a Cruze. It's a Cruze in China as well. Yeah. That's right. One, it makes the job pretty fun and interesting, right? Well, there's no day I'm not on a conference call with 4 or 5 different countries trying to figure out how to design and develop this and meet everyone's requirements. Chevy is really proud of all the tech that you can get in the new Cruze. There's all the safety stuff, including 10 airbags, blind side monitoring, cross traffic alert, rear backup camera, lane keep, everything that used to be in much more expensive cars. Plus, GM will throw in, get this, 24 months or 4 gigabytes of 4G LTE when you buy this vehicle. Chevy also says a 0 to 60 time in 7.7 seconds, which is actually very good. So let's give it a little bit of the beans and find out what that means. So there is a little bit of turbo lag, but once it spools up, you know, there is a nice rush of power. Now, unlike the Honda Civic, you can get this in a 6-speed automatic and a 6-speed manual. The Civic only comes in the CVT unless you want the very base model, and as much as I like the Civic, I just don't like CVT, so I'm very happy that Chevy actually did put a regular automatic in here. All right, I've got this seat set to where I normally sit. Keep in mind I'm pretty tall, 6'2". I'm gonna try to get in the back seat because Chevy has stretched this car by 3 inches and most of that room has gone back here. So let's see how much leg room I have. Headroom, it's a little tight. You know, it's not bad. I have just enough room, so if you were a little shorter, I think you'd be pretty comfortable. Obviously, the segment leader is the Honda Civic. Yes. And that does have one thing that you don't have. That's got independent rear suspension. You've got solid rear axle. Yeah. You think people are going to notice that? Why did you decide to, you know, go with a solid rear axle? So it is a different name for a suspension, but what we've chosen as our solution there
we feel is the right one for our car, from a packaging perspective, from a mass efficiency perspective, and then for what it delivers to the customer. In our premier models with our 17 and 18 inch wheels, we do have our Watts link perspective. It's a compound crank with a Watts link. That Watt link adds lateral stiffness without compromising ride.
Style-wise is where this Cruze really shines. Now, Chevy has stretched the length by about 3 inches, giving it kind of that low, sleek, almost baby Impala-like look. And in the interior, well, they've done a really phenomenal job of bringing in expensive, soft, premium materials that feel like you're in a car that's a class above this segment. Obviously it's front wheel drive, but there isn't a lot of power to make the front wheels actually chirp or give you a lot of torque steer. In terms of quietness, let's just be quiet. Let you listen. Very quiet, very refined. Seating position is comfortable. The steering is typical for the segment, which means pretty much somewhat communicative.
Well, we have the navigation here.
Yeah, yeah.
Or you can plug in your phone and you can use your own map system.
I noticed that, so you're very proud of that, right? Now
or call OnStar. There's multiple ways. You're not getting lost.
You got OnStar, you got Apple CarPlay, you got Android Auto, and you got, this is the 8-inch screen, right?
Yep.
You know, Chevy says this has some of that Camaro DNA. I think more of that DNA is probably in the look than in the actual performance, because with, you know, just 157 plus horsepower, that's not going to give you enough oomph to put that Camaro smile on your face. But you know, this is a car more for commuting. Interesting, the people that buy this car tend to bookend the segment, and what I mean by that is they're people that are either young without kids or empty nesters without kids. So think, you know, under 25 and over 50, and that's a relatively good segment to be in because you have this broad spectrum of potential buyer for your car. The first generation of the Cruze was about 4th or 5th in the segment. So the question is, has Chevy done enough to compete with the likes of the class-leading Honda Civic and the Toyota Corolla? And in my opinion, I think they have. Both from an exterior and an interior point of view, Chevy seems to have really nailed it out of the ballpark. And now it's just a question of time to see whether this car will actually compete in the marketplace, because it is available right now at your local Chevy dealership. As always, this is Roman reporting for the Fast Lane Car. Thanks for watching, and check out tflcar.com for more news, views, and of course, brand spanking new Chevy Cruze reviews. See you guys next time. Ciao. Meet the brand spanking new Buick Cascada, and Cascada in Spanish means waterfall. And to be honest, it's not all that new. It's been around in Europe as an Opel for a number of years, but Buick flew me down here to beautiful Miami to drive this all the way down to Key West. So let's take a drive and see how Buick has tuned this European Opel into an American 4-seater convertible.